Hey everybody, it's Jay at LockNLube, and today we are talking about the world's only rebuildable grease coupler. LockNLube is not only the original locking grease coupler, but also the only one that can be rebuilt. That means it has the lowest lifetime cost of any grease coupler out there, and is also very easy to clean and maintain. Something else we've done is make the rebuild kit universal. The internals are shared across the models, which means that your seal kit here can be used in either. What we always say before you go to rebuild the coupler, if you are experiencing any leaking from the working end of the coupler, it's probably because some dirt or grime or grit has become built up in between the seal and the Zerk fitting. We've made a couple videos on this, those are all linked below. And before you go to rebuild the coupler, first try cleaning it. We've made it very easy to clean and maintain the coupler. All you do is push down the thumb lever and spray some brake cleaner or other solvent on it to get everything out. Maybe use some canned air to clean it, and it should be good as new. Now, if that doesn't work for you, we're gonna show you what the next step is. So let's get into it. Now, when you go to rebuild your coupler, the first thing you'll do is unroll the bag with the included spare parts and see that there are instructions printed here telling you exactly what to do. We find it's often easiest if you use a vise to hold it in place. You can do it just holding the coupler there, but of course it's gonna be greasy, and oftentimes these things are easier if you can get them standing still. So here we've got our tabletop vise, and the key here is when you go to put the vise on the wrench flats in the back, be sure to do it in such a way so you can push down the thumb lever completely to expose the jaws. I've got my long-handled channel locks here. Vice grips work great if you have them. If not, some long-handled pliers should give you plenty of leverage to get the old seal kit removed from the coupler. So in this bag that we mentioned earlier, you will find the threaded cone along with 4 jaws. That threaded cone is what we're removing. So the jaws sit around here inside the coupler, and all we're doing is unthreading this unit. I'll grab my pliers, push down the thumb lever, and get a nice secure grip. As I said, obviously this is greasy and slippery, so squeeze it extra tight. You don't have to worry about damaging the unit at all because everything you're touching right now is gonna be removed and thrown away. So with a nice tight grip on it, start turning it counterclockwise. Now, after a couple turns, you can certainly just grab these and remove them completely with your fingers. So there you have it. You'll notice that the O-ring is still in place on the bottom there, and the jaws, because of the grease, are all sticking in place. Makes it nice and easy. So now we've removed the original seal kit from the coupler, and we're going to insert our new unit to replace it and get it working as good as new. So you'll grab your cone, and at the bottom is a notch above this ring and O-ring. That is a groove to hold the jaws in place. When you get close to the jaws, you'll see that there's an end that sticks down quite a bit further than the other end. So this short end goes in the retaining groove, and the long end goes around the top, and that will grab onto the Zerk fitting. So I'm gonna seat the 4 jaws around the cone. And because the jaws are made to float, they're not gonna stay in place by themselves. You'll notice that the bag here is secured with a rubber band. Nice little trick is that you can use that same rubber band to hold the jaws in place to make installation easier. So now that it's rubber banded, I don't have to worry about holding those jaws in place while I go to install them. So I'm gonna push down the thumb lever again to get me closer to those threads. Make sure my new O-ring is seated in the correct location, and I'm gonna start by just getting this finger tight. So I'm gonna twist that in, couple turns, and even though the jaws float, you will sort of feel, okay, it's getting snug. And at that point, I can pull my rubber band off, and the jaws will stay in place. So that's how we get started. At the end, I'm gonna snug it up with my pliers here, and you don't have to give it too much torque. You just wanna get it nice and snug so that it's not turning anymore, that it's all seated, and that O-ring's in place. And again, it's okay to apply a little pressure to these jaws. You don't need to grab them super tight though. Again, this one is clean, not covered in grease like the last one, although I am adding a fair bit of grease with my pliers here as I get it on. All right, so that should do it. We should have everything firmly seated and secured. A nice check to do at the end is that the jaws should sit below the face of the coupler. So when this sliding sleeve moves up and forward, the jaws should be slightly recessed. I mean, barely, but just inside the top of that face. Now the replacement parts have been installed. Our coupler is ready to use and will work like new. So just like that, in just a couple minutes, you're back in business and ready to get back to work with a coupler that is fully functional, clean, and ready to go. Thanks very much for watching, and for more information, check out LockNLube.com.